I'm on the road again. Hello from New York. Here are my poker goals for this work trip. Way less bluffing, and when I do it, at least have equity. Seriously, no stack punting with air. Isolate more pre-flop. Means bigger opening sizes and more 3-betting. Multi-way pots are just too chaotic. Value bet when I have it. And remember that sizes smaller than all-in are okay. Let's hit the road. Two work trips ago, I lost big. Last one, I recovered about a quarter of it. The recovery continues here at this riverboat casino in West Chicago. I show up with the intention to play 1-3, but upon checking in, the staff told me it would be a while for a seat, but if I'm willing to play 2-5, I could sit down right away. I say, why not? Let's dive right into the deep end this trip. I sit down with $800 to the action. The straddle in this game is permanently on. 2-5-10's definitely bigger than I'm used to, but this will be a quick session, so let's take a shot. Here with Ace King in the straddle is as good a time as any to get involved. Several people simply match the $10, then the big blind goes for the first raise and makes it $50. True to one of my poker goals for this trip, I will not be calling here. I put in a sizable 3-bet, $200. Ideally, I just take the pot down right now, but this is a featured hand, so that obviously doesn't happen. One of the limpers calls this 3-bet, going from willing to play for $10 to willing to play for $200. Folds to the big blind, who raised to 50, who then folds. Not what I expected to happen here, and now we're going heads up out of position to a flop of 10-7-5 with 2 clubs. Pretty crappy flop, and again, true to another poker goal for this trip, I won't be blasting away with just the nut no pair here, so I just check, hoping my opponent checks back. Sadly, that does not happen. He bets $200, and given this flop heavily favors his range and I hold no clubs, I just cut my losses here and let this one go. Obviously not the best or most exciting result here, and we take a hit right away. So let's make something happen with Ace-Jack from the cutoff. Couple of $10 limps and I go for the isolation play. I bump it up to $50, which gets matched by the straddle and both of the limpers. Alright, 4 ways to yet another crappy flop, 10-8-7 with 2 hearts. Thankfully it checks to me. Not c-betting this with just a gut shot, I check back. The turn makes things interesting. The 9 ends up coming in, giving me the straight to the jack. First act decides to lead for 75, and one other player calls before it gets to me. You know, it's amazing how clear things get when watching a video of a hand that is already played out, but I should definitely raise here, being in position in order to both get value from the butt end of the straight and heart draws. But of course, in the moment, I just call. I get punished for being passive when the river pairs the 9 and the value of a straight decreases significantly. First act again decides to bet, going for a size of 135. I picked up my phone since the floor was hanging around just in case. The Midwest region has historically been a little behind the curve in poker videos. Obviously I'll stop recording if asked, but that doesn't happen thankfully. Anyway, the middle player folds, and I gotta just call here. A raise won't get called by anything worse, and I figure we're likely just chopping the pot with each holding a jack. That's exactly the case, as we both have a jack-high straight. We each chop a little bit of profit up here, but this hand ends up being a bit anticlimactic. I'm cut off again, this time with pocket 4s. I missed recording this hand until the turn, but what I remember is that I went 4 ways with $80 into the flop. The flop checked around, and I spiked a set on the turn. It checks to me, and I bet a milky size of $40, which gets called by everyone. Well, that's good if I hold. The river is as clean as it gets, peeling off an inconsequential duck. Checks around to me again, and it's just a matter of what size to bet. I think not too small, not too big would work just right here, so I go with 185. The small blind, who I cover, snap calls all in, and she's sadly my only customer. I'm good against a 1 pair holding, and I obviously wish a bigger stack had something to call with, but still a good amount of rebate here, I'll take it. Real quick everyone, I started an Instagram. Follow me at the Poker Pilot with the underscores, very important. Only one thing about it, I'm only going to post pictures after I leave town. Don't rob me. Alright, back to the hands. Which leads me to this one with Ace-4 of clubs in the small blind. There's an open to 30 and a call from the button. I go for the squeeze here, but of course I should have gone bigger given the dynamics of this table. I raise to 150. The big blind just immediately cold calls. Oh, the disrespect. Straddler calls too, and so does the button. Alright, this is not the right table to make isolation plays, clearly. Hopefully I can at least smash this flop, and I don't. I make bottom pair, but there is not a single club to be seen. Not a good flop to bluff into 3 opponents. I check. Big blind checks. The straddler then bets $500. Yeah, not today. Button folds and I'm obviously out of there immediately too. Yeah, this has been a tough table. I don't feel that I can beat it, so I just call it a night and rack my remaining chips up. Tough table and a rough first session of the trip. I played for 3 hours and ended up in for 1,000, out for 351 for a loss of $649. The bigger game didn't work out this time around, but I still had a good time and enjoyed the challenge despite the loss. For now, let's try to recover a bit at the next spot. Off to yet another new spot in the Central Valley of California. Still 100 degrees outside, so not much to do but get the local cuisine and play some cards. Club 1 looks like a pretty cool room. Biggest game they've got going tonight is 1-3, but that's fine by me. Also, mind if I ask you, the viewer, a small favor? If my videos have given you any value or entertainment, please consider subscribing. I know, YouTube pushes videos to your feed whether you're subbed or not, but taking a couple seconds to click or touch that button really helps the channel and its future out. I've cleared 1,000, which is just incredible, and thank you if you're one of them. Now let's keep it going. 2,000 is the next goal. Alright, thanks for giving me a few seconds to shamelessly plug myself. Onto the hands for this $500 buy-in game. Oh, you again. I'm in the big blind, there are 2 limps, and I hate that I have to do this. I raced to $20, which I know I'm not going to see again because King-Queen offsuit sucks. One player calls and it's off to 10-7-6, all spades. Yeah, figures. Flop checks around, turn doesn't matter. I check again, my opponent reaches for chips, and I throw this trash back to the dealer before he can even get his bet across the line. Oh, look at that. King-Queen off lost another pot. Color me shocked. Next. Ace 5 of spades in the low jack. I open a 20. Yes, 20 with no limpers. Remember one of my goals? Try to play fewer multi-way pots by being more aggressive pre-flop? Yeah, what do I know? 3 players call. So much for that. Seriously, what's it gonna have to be? Opening to $50 to get heads up? I'm only willing to go so high here. 4 ways to 10-4 deuce with 2 spades. Alright, this I can work with. Checks to me and I bet 40, which just the button ends up calling. Out of position to a turn now, but at least it's heads up. And also at least, it's the 3 of hearts. Now we're talking. Now it's time to get paid. I bet $90. This time holding a real hand already and with a redraw to the nut flush and even the steel wheel if I'm lucky enough to hit the 3 of spades. Sadly, I don't get to find out. The button folds. Oh well, I don't hate my bet size and I was not about to let it check through. Okay, here with Ace King under the gun. Maybe that last hand was a fluke and a $20 opening size will work to get the pot heads up this time. I try it again. $20 to go. Nope. Gets called by 3 other players again. Perhaps this particular trip goal isn't gonna happen. Whatever, at least the flop is ace 8-6 with 2 hearts. I'm coming out swinging. I bet $50. Alright, which of these players wants to pay for my next haircut? It's coming up right after my trip and oh my god, the low jack just went all in. Looks like it's for $150. You know what? I'm gonna call that. I can't let go of top for just $100 more, and if he's jamming with a flush draw, that's even better, because I'd be a 2-1 favorite, and oh my god, the hijack just re-jammed over the top. You gotta be kidding. First jam, fine, no problem, but 2 jams? That's a lot of jams. Now there's no way I'm good. Someone flopped a set of 8s or 6s, it's just a matter of which one. I recite a short eulogy for my top pair top kicker and bid it goodbye. First guy, I would have chopped with. He also had ace king. It was the hijack who flopped the set, and it was 8s. Well, that's an unfortunate result, I'd say. At least the hijack didn't smooth call, because I probably would have called and lost even more on this hand. Ah yes, this hand right here. I've been waiting for you. You, me, and the button. We make a great trio. This better not be a limped pot. Ah nice, it's not. There's an open to 15 and a call. What should we raise to? $60 would be the standard, but let's see if we can squeeze out a hair more. I raised the price of poker to $70. First raiser's out, but the cutoff is in. Heads up, in position to 8-6 deuce 2 clubs. Would have liked to see a much drier flop, but oh well. This is what I got to work with. He checks, I bet 75. I better not see a check raise here. Alright, good. He just calls. Turns a 4. This board is getting worse and worse for aces, and it's made even more dicey when the cutoff takes the lead, betting $50. This guy is block betting me on the turn. I contemplate raising, but I figure if he had a big value hand, he'd either size way higher than this or check it over to me with plans to check raise, and it also likely means if I were to bet more like $200, he'd probably just fold. So this small $50 bet could be me getting the max from him if I still have the best hand. I just call. River's a 3. Bad card. I lose to any 5, lots of 2-pair combos from hands like suited gappers out there, you know the drill. Just not the best board for aces. He checks and I just take it to showdown. Aces are good here, and I'm not sure if I either left money on the table here or got the max this opponent was willing to put into the pot. I feel it could be either scenario. Hand just took a weird direction with that turn block bet. This session was filled with mostly mild up and downs. At the worst I was in the hole for $400, but thankfully I mostly recovered. I did still lose though. In $800 overall, out for $677 after a 4-hour, 15-minute session. All I can say is, I'm not liking these results so far. I'm still in a big hole from my horrible trip 2 months ago, and this is not how I'm going to get out of it. Let's hope I can book a win at the next spot. Let's go! That next spot brings me back to the Heartland, a place known for its barbecue and a football powerhouse. And something tells me they like that team. Can't quite put my finger on it though. Gotta say though, whoever designed the felt for the tables forgot to account for the location of the card shuffler. Anyway, 1-3 is all they got going tonight, but that's okay. $500 is the buy-in to the hands. I've got the ladies in +1. The button straddle is on, and it's the kind where the blinds act first. The blinds fold, under the gun limps, a very strong play indeed, and I open the action up to 25. Button calls, and so does the limper. 3 ways to 8-10-4 with 2 hearts. First checks, I bet $40, and they both call. Still monkey in the middle to a bad card, the Jack of Hearts. Completes the obvious flush draw, brings in 10-9, connects the board further, you know the drill. After under the gun checks again, I decide to keep the pot a manageable size and check it over to the button. Button chooses to stab, betting $50. Under the gun now folds, and I'm obviously not going anywhere yet. There are plenty of semi-bluffs available that the button could be taking a stab with. River is the 3 of spades, changing nothing. I check it over to the aggressor, but he decides on taking it to showdown. I'm good versus ace-jack, and this just goes to show you the disadvantage of being first to act. That's definitely a holding that would have called a river bet on my end. Feels like money left on the table here. Oh well, next hand. Queens again, same position too. I'm first in and open to $25 again. Next up calls, then middle position puts the 3-bet in, making it $100 to go. Gets back to me, and I'm obviously never folding here. It's just a matter of 4-betting or not. I probably would 4-bet a portion of the time here, but since this time I don't anticipate the third player to call and I'll be out of position after the flop again, I just match the $100. As I predicted, the third party is out and it's heads up to a jack-high flop, all spades. Oh man. Quick spade check? Yep, queen of spades is there. I check it to the 3-better who continues for 75. Nothing else to do here but call. Turn brings the 10 of hearts. Now here's where I switch gears. I decide to bet first this time. I bet 160. I did this as sort of a block bet. If he has aces or kings, I'd likely face a bet not just now but also on the river, and it could be a tough spot. If he has a hand like ace-king, he might still call since it improved to a gut shot with 2 overs, and I could be extracting value from that. If he folds now, then at least I can take a good 3-bet pot uncontested. After a good 30-second tank on his end, he decides on option 3. Good lead or not, let me know. Quick background before I talk about this hand. The player to my direct right has been just giving chips away. When I sat down, he had over 1,200 in front of him. Now, he's on his second rebuy since losing all of those chips. Some of them to me, thankfully, but in not very YouTube-worthy hands. There's a $15 open and 2 callers by the time it gets to me with 5-4 of hearts in the cutoff. I'm happy to just call here and see if I smash a flop in position. It's 4 ways to 3-6-6 with 1 heart. I'd call that a decent flop for me, wouldn't you? Could do without the board pair, but oh well. The flop checks around. I'm perfectly okay with seeing a free turn. Turn unfortunately doesn't complete my hand, bringing the 9 of diamonds. It checks to me again, and this time I take a semi-bluff stab for $30, which only the aforementioned player to my direct right calls. River's a little consolation prize, but not much. It's the 5 of spades. This time, that opponent takes the lead and bets $30. Honestly, this is either a 6x hand or just another punt with 2 overs on his end. I'm getting 5-1 on a call here, and with me perceiving this as being 50-50 value hand or bluff, I just have a mandatory call. Unfortunately, this time it was a value hand, as he had 8-6 offsuit. But I lost the bare minimum here, so it's whatever. Alright, this hand is likely going to get a polarized reaction from the audience here, so just be warned. I've got pocket fives in the big blind. There's some $15 action from the field when it gets to me, and I'm getting a very good price to go set mining, so I come along. 5 ways to... well, set mining is fun when you actually mine a set, isn't it? 3, 4, 5 rainbow. First checks, and I'm just going to come right out swinging, betting $30. There are 4 other opponents in this hand. I'm sure at least one of them is bound to call, and there are straight draws to get value from. I was right, and 2 opponents end up seeing the turn with me. You know what's fun? Value betting against likely draws. You know what's not fun? When those draws come in. The turn sucks, peeling off a deuce. Any ace or 6 now beats me, and people tend to hold on to their hands when they have an ace in them. First stack checks, and now with the board being so dangerous, I just check it over to the last act opponent. This opponent then bets $70. Crap, I don't like it. Other guy folds and it's back to me. The direct odds to try to boat up are just under what I need them to be, but there is more money to play for if I do hit, so I call the 70. Please, please, please pair the board. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now for the polarizing part of this hand I alluded to. I don't want to check and have it just get checked back. I gotta bet. Now it's just a matter of how much. Pot has 305 in it, and I've got $700 left in my stack, which he covers. Another thing, this guy from my limited time at the table with him seems to be a good thinking player. Could I make this hand look like either the nuts or complete air to a guy that thinks? Could I bet huge and make it look like I'm trying to get him off of a chop? Maybe, just maybe, he'd be more inclined to call with a straight given these factors if I go huge. And one more thing, this game is called No Limit Hold'em. If we constantly act like the size of the pot is as big as we should go, we're not reaching our full potential in this game. I think by now you see where this is going. I make the huge overbet jam. All of my remaining $700 is going into the middle. Your move, sir. And he snap folds. Well, you know what? If he had called with a straight, you'd be calling me a genius right now. And honestly, I don't hate the play. I'm sure some viewers might though, so feel free to discuss this one down below. Maybe I didn't win the max, maybe I did. In for 500, out for 1,059 for a win of 559 over a 3-hour session. Good course correction for the first couple of losing sessions this trip. Time to pack up, say until next time to Kansas City, and hit the road again. There's about to be an interesting twist to this trip though. Okay, here's the deal. Got to Minneapolis, discovered a maintenance issue on the airplane, and it needs a part. It's not going to be here for several days. I just typed Minneapolis into Poker Atlas, but I haven't looked yet. Now, moment of truth. Is there anywhere I can play poker in Minneapolis?